Sahana bhavatu sahanau punatu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verses 26 to 34.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam shubha shubha phalairevam mokshase karma bandhanaihi sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mamupaishyasi samoham sarvabhuteshu na me dveshyosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mayi te teshu chapyaham api chet suduracharaha bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi na me bhaktah pranashyati Mam hi parthavyapashritya yepi syuh papayonayah striyo vaishyastatha shudraha tepi yanti param gatim kim punar brahmanah punyaha bhakta rajashyastatha anityamasukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam manmana bhava madbhaktah madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanah.
I think the Diwali spirit is on everybody and everybody must be busy with it. So most people aren't there in class today. So do you all want to do what we used to do? Remember a long time ago when we had people busy during class times, we used to, and it was a real world, we used to take general questions. So do you all want to take general questions today? Everybody always has a question when they shouldn't be having. So we can use this time now to do general questions because many people seem to be absent. So yeah, Ashya, do you have a question?
Not at the moment, Janki ji.
Oh, then you're saying yes. Okay. All right. So is anyone, has anyone got a question?
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Amaranda.
Yeah, actually, this
Janki
I just want to take from the Vedanta Foundation course which we had last week,
Mhm.
and you talk about the introspection. I just started from yesterday, but little doubt is after finishing everything, I remember some 2-3 events which I forgot. So what should I? Then I remember, oh, I forget. So whether whatever forget, I forget. Finish. That's what I want to do. Or again, I forget 3 events. Then I am coming back to again. So it's not required, no.
No, you can remember. You now it's come to your memory, so just remember it. But don't spend more than 5 minutes. That's the
Yeah.
important thing. 5,
Sometimes
6 minutes is max.
no, with introspection, sleeping in the bed, we are getting going into sleep also.
Yes, it happens. So sit up for a few days and then sit up and then do it and then lie down.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
Janki ji, I had a question. When we talk about the physical personality, so that is made up of the 5 Gyanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, and do we also include the Pancha Mahabhutas and the Pancha Pranas? Are they all, and the koshas? Is that also part of the personality, physical or no?
Yes, we will be studying all this as I think in the next class itself. So we'll cover all that.
Okay.
Panchabhutas are we will not be covering because it's a little more complicated than is required. So I can do Panchabhutas here. Panchabhutas means the 5 elements, which is space, air, fire, water, earth. 5 elements. These are the 5 elements that constitute the world. The whole world by the Indian system is made of these 5 things. Now, whole world is made of it means what? That means every object in this world is made of it. Your body is also an object, right? It's one of the objects of this world. So therefore, it is made of it. Now, there is another complicated issue about how the mind and intellect is made of it. So that we will probably study when we do a book like Atma Bodha, where they talk about the Tanmatras. Tanmatras means the purer forms of the elements. So we'll study that later. That's a little complicated to take. I don't know if we should go into that kind of analysis right now. So as far as the body is concerned, it's made of the Panchabhutas. That's clear enough. Now, how is the mind and intellect also made? Because everything in the world is supposed to be made of the Panchabhutas. So for that, we'll have to study what is Panchakarna. Now, I don't know whether I'll want to study Panchakarna right now. I'll translate the term Panchakarna into English. Pentamerous self-division and mutual combination. Okay, it may not be of interest to everybody. What it basically means is that the 5 Panchabhutas exist in their original state, which is known as the Tanmatras. Tatmatra means only that. Panchakarna. Panchakarna, Mr. Srinivasan, means pentamerous self-division and mutual recombination. Panchi is pentamerous. 5. Panchi, 5. So there are the Tanmatras. Tanmatras means the pure elements. The pure elements then break up and get recombined with the other elements. So when you see an element such as water, water is not the water which we see and feel. Okay, this water is not the original Tanmatra, but it is 50% water, half water, and the other half is made of the other elements. So 1/2 is, of course, this, and 1/8, 1/8, 1/8 of the other. Is that clear? This is a bit difficult to do like this. If we had a board, it would be easier. Mahesh, can you put all this on the, okay, you know how to do all that stuff? Can I write it in the chat? How does this thing work?
Janki ji, isn't it mentioned in chapter 7, verse 4 and 5, a bit of it? Panchikarna, I can
Yes, Atma Bodha,
remember, I
right?
recall. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. So when
Yes.
we study Atma Bodha, we can study it. Or if you all have the book, you all can read it.
No, I'm talking about Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 4 and 5. It's somewhat the eightfold, the lower nature and the higher nature.
I don't know, but is Panchikarna mentioned there?
Yes, yes, yes.
And it's
Panchikarna.
explained?
Yeah, somewhat it's explained. The
Yes.
self-division and mutual combination called Panchikarna. It transformed the subtle into gross elements. The gross elements combine to mold gross matter. The gross and the subtle matter together constitute the lower nature of Brahma. And it's still explained in the paragraph further.
Yeah, so it shows a half is water, 1/8.
No, that is not shown.
Okay.
It just says this eightfold division constitutes the lower aspect of Brahma.
Okay, fine. So I'll just type it over here. I don't know how to type this thing. 1 stroke half
Janki ji,
plus. Yeah, can you do
I
it?
found something, a division of an image. So can I just share that and you can
Yes.
see if it's okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, great. All right. So in stage 1, these are the tanmatras. Where did you get this, Mahesh? Very nice. Okay, so see how this tanmatra becomes the gross elements. So we have got 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. These are the tanmatras. Tanmatras means the pure element. Now this in step 2 breaks up into half. Can you see that? And then I guess the yellow, the whatever color this is supposed to be, mustard color, is half that. And then it recombines that the below portion becomes 1/8 each. And you see that in verse in stage 4, the below portion becomes 1/8. So let's take water for instance. So first you have the tanmatra, which is the complete water. This divides into half and half. Half stays water, and the lower half gets divided into 4. So it becomes 1/8 water, 1/8 in stage 4. It's 1/8 water, 1/8 water, 1/8 water, 1/8 water. Got it? Now what happens is all these 1/8 go to the other element. So now when you see water, the water which you do see is you have half water, which was the original tanmatra, plus 1/8 of space, 1/8 of fire, 1/8 of air, and 1/8 of earth. This combination is what you see now as water. Similarly, the others. Okay, so when it is in stage 4, this is your physical body and every object of the world. When it is in stage 1, the original, that makes up for the mind and intellect. Clear? So this is the Panchikarna process. In stage 1, it's a tanmatra, which is its original and pure form. In stage 2, it divides into half. The half stays as it were, and then the second half divides into 1/8, 1/8, 1/8 for other parts. And then each of these 4 parts go to the others. So your fire now is half original tanmatra, fire, plus 1/8 water, 1/8 earth, 1/8 air, 1/8 space. And this is your perceivable fire. This is the theory. In stage 4, it makes up the gross objects of the world. In stage 1, it makes up the subtle objects, which is mind and intellect.
Could you please explain mind and intellect? Where are they? They are stage 1.
Yeah,
Mind and
stage 1.
intellect.
Yeah. The tanmatras, when they merge by themselves, they have not broken up. Then it makes the mind and intellect. But when they merge after breaking, they make up the physical objects of the world.
Okay, thank you. So the mind and intellect also has all 5 of them
Yeah.
together in the pure form.
Every object in this world has got all 5.
No, the mind has all 4: space, air, water, earth, and in the purest form all together. Do they without mixing?
Yeah, without breaking up and mixing.
Okay. Thank you.
Janki ji, what is the difference between the second and third stage? One is colored, one is not, and both are split. So is it a process going on?
Yeah, I mean, they happen to have done it like this. I don't know where he got it from, but it's lucky he got this for us. So basically, the one splits into half. Of that one half of the 2 halves will stay as it is. But the second half is going to split into 4 parts.
Okay. And between 4 and 5, we have standing ovals and lying down ovals. Is there anything different?
Yeah. The lying down oval means that it has come. So the vertical ovals now in stage 5, the
4.
mustard colored thing is space. But 1/8 of that, the uncolored ovals, the vertical ones in 5, 1/8 is air, 1/8 is fire, 1/8 is water, 1/8 is earth. But in 4, they're all the 5 pieces are of the same element still. In line 5, they are of a different one.
Okay. Thank you, Ji. It's so easy to understand with this diagram.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yeah. These IT guys are very good. They keep finding stuff. I don't know where they keep finding all this stuff from.
This diagram is in Atmabodh book, Janki
Yes.
Panchikarana, 106 page number.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, this whole thing, this concept is explained in Atmabodha. So this will be there. Yeah. Has Mahesh taken it from there? I don't think he's taken it from there because it's of colors here.
No, I haven't. I just found it on the net.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Janki ji, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a corollary to the question which was asked yesterday in the Vedanta treatise. The question was that when thoughts of reality is interrupted, does agitation follow? We were discussing that, saying that it will. But if the thoughts of reality is coming from the contemplator who is directed by the intellect, won't the discriminatory ability will take care of the agitation?
That is true for all cases.
So,
to the extent that your intellect is in charge, you will be less affected.
So the agitation is directly proportional to the development of the intellect. Is that right?
No. Agitation is directly proportional to the desire. How much you will
No,
act
but-
on the agitation is dependent on your intellect.
Right. So if the agitation is less, it means your intellect is developed better.
Listen, Shanti, agitation is always proportional to desire. So nothing to do with intellect. Okay?
Okay.
So there's no proportional there. But are you going to act on it? How much is that agitation going to propel your action is proportional to your intellect.
So agitation will anyway happen even if your intellect is well developed, if the desire is there. Am I understanding it right?
Yeah. To proportional to the desire will be your agitation. Now, does your agitation keep you from sleeping or not is dependent on the strength of your
Intellect. Thank you, ma'am.
Can I ask another question, please, Janki ji?
Yes, sure.
So I was just reading about the Gyanendriyas and Karmendriyas. So the tongue is for taste. So that's a Gyanendriya. But it is also used for speech. So then is it a Karmendriya or Gyanendriya?
Its taste function, actually, in the Vedantic concept, Indriya is not the skin or the tongue or the eye.
Not the organ. Oh.
Not the organ. The organs are known as golayas. They are not the Indriyas. Indriyas is a function.
Okay.
And so it is said to exist in the mind, really.
Yeah.
So we do use Indriyas because I think most of the Indian languages use Indriya in the sense of the actual sense organ. So we tend to use it like that. But in the original conception, it's not used in that sense. It's used in the sense of a function. So you possess the function, a Jnanendriya, which means you have the function of taste, and you have the function of speech, which is a Karmendriya.
Okay. So the organ is the same, but the two functions are different. Thank you.
Organ is the same means there is an overlap in the function.
If there's nobody else asking, I have another doubt.
Please, there doesn't seem to be anyone raising their hand.
Okay. So I think in one class it was mentioned that Vasana is created through our thoughts and then desires. And as we keep thinking, that keeps getting strengthened. But
Vasana is created, you said, by our thoughts?
Is it? No.
I'm asking, I didn't hear what you said. Did you say
Yes,
it's created?
that's what I said. Is it
Okay.
created?
Yes, you're asking how a Vasana is created?
Yeah, one is where do they come from and how are they created? I think there's a very subtle difference. I didn't know how to put it.
All right. So where do Vasanas come from and where are they created? Well, Vasanas are the subtlest, isn't it? Action is gross. Subtler than action is desire. Subtler than desire is thought. Subtler than thought is Vasana. Correct. So it is a Vasana which will create the thought, which will create the desire, which will create the action.
Yes.
Because the gross cannot create the subtle.
Yes.
Correct. So where does the Vasana come from? The Vasana, this is a really difficult concept to understand. Vasana is a concept which is not comprehensible by the intellect. You see, we began by saying that the intellect cannot understand the self and cannot understand Vasana. It's not possible. So you can't really ask the question, where did it come from? Because you're conceptualizing something that cannot be a concept.
Okay.
So therefore, the terminology for Vasana that is commonly used is avidya. You are the self, and you don't know you are the self. This non-knowledge of your own identity is what is a Vasana. Now, since you have gone from not knowing to knowing something in particular, we claim that this particular formation of this not knowing, it's not just not knowing at the moment, right? Now it's misunderstanding. You've moved from I don't know I'm the self to thinking I am thinking. You made this transition. When you are in deep sleep, you are back in the state of I don't know. And when you come to the waking, you say, I am thinking. In deep sleep, you're not thinking. You simply don't know. It's ignorance. Now, here is the issue, which is that indeterminate Vasana somehow has become determinate. How is that? Nobody can answer that question. You have converted from I don't know. You are the self. If you knew you were the self, you would be a self-realized soul. Because I know I'm the self. From that, somehow, you don't know that you're the self. And from that, somehow, you think you're thinking. So how did that indeterminate avidya become determinate thinking? How can we answer that question when avidya cannot be known? So we just have to gulp it. You gulp it or you throw it. One of the two. But there is obviously some record being maintained that you are tinky. Because every morning you're waking up and saying, I'm tinky. Of course, sometimes you say you're lovely now, but on the other hand, mostly you say you're tinky. So each time you are waking up to the same thing. So obviously this indeterminate vasanas have somehow maintained some record. I don't know whether it's a good example, but you can think of it something like this, that there is a ground and you pour water. Okay. And when you pour water on that ground, it can go anywhere. But as you keep pouring water, that the water starts forming certain tracks. And then it tends to go more and more in that track only. So how do you explain that phenomenon? How do you explain that indeterminate flow has become a particular track, which will now repeat? And with knowledge, then you will change that particular track. But all this is the record is being maintained, no, somehow. So how is that happening? I don't know. You're muted, Tinky. You're muted.
So they say no, you must exhaust the last vasana before you self-realize. So that exhaustion means I must keep on changing that track, the groove that is formed.
That's right. Until I bring it to the single groove of wanting self-realization. So basically, I've taken all the various tracks and led it in one particular direction. And then it goes into the ocean. So now no water and no track.
That was a beautiful example. Thank you so much.
Janki ji, can I ask a corollary to that? Does the action in any way influence the creation of vasana? Is it becoming a loop or it will never become a loop?
It is becoming a loop, but you can't make that statement that action influenced vasana. Because action is gross, vasana is subtle. So how are you going to make that statement? That is not an acceptable statement. So, philosophically, Vedanta, when you talk about it from Vedanta, action involves everything, remember? No action will be performed unless there's a desire backing it, there's a thought backing it, there's a vasana backing it. So when you use it in that sense, the entire thing, then it feeds itself. The vasana creates the thought, creates the desire, creates the action, creates the vasana, creates the thought, so the loop goes on. But you cannot make a statement that the action creates a vasana, that the physical action will create a vasana. It cannot be done.
So how should it be expressed, ma'am? If it is a loop, if you cannot
You can express it as a loop, but you have to understand that the word action here means the whole thing backwards.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, because we say that, no? The action creates the vasana, but action means the whole thing backwards.
Jankiji, may I?
Yeah, go ahead, Naim.
This is the last statement you had made last week. It was that the world is anityam, impermanent, and joyless. So happiness is not in the world. And I just wanted to understand that, because we do things, we interact with the senses, we interact with the world, and we get pleasure. So
I only heard transient and joyless. What did you say after that?
That the world is joyless.
Mm-hmm.
And you asked us to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I complete that. How is the world joyless? Because we go out in the world, we do things, we perceive with our senses, and we feel we got some pleasure from the world. But you had given an example. You said that if I had 10 students and I was happy with them, then I got 20 students and they told I'm a good teacher, I was happy. Then again, I came back to 10 students only, and now I'm not happy. So how did that change?
Yeah, that's what you were supposed to think about, right? How did that change? How did 10 students or any X object of the world create happiness at one time, and the same object create unhappiness at another time? So what does it prove? That it is not the X object, the 10 students or the gulab jamun or anything that gives you the happiness. That's why joyless. That 10 students is not joy. You believed it was joy. That's why I'm trying to prove to you firstly that the 10 students were not joy. When you had them in first, they were joy. Then you had 20. Then you had 10 again. So in two conditions, you had 10 students, but they were not equal joy. Thereby, you can easily assume that the joy was not created by those 10 students. Then what was it created by? That's the question. That's the biggest question in this world. And if you can grapple that to your soul, like Shakespeare says, you got it. You got the bull by the horns. Any object, okay? A gulab jamun gives me pleasure. Okay? The first gulab jamun gives me X pleasure. My 10th gulab jamun gives me displeasure. That should prove that the joy is not in the gulab jamun. Because if the joy was in the gulab jamun, then I should get pleasure from it each time. Because I'm contacting it. Like fire is hot. It's hot in and of itself. Every time I go near it, excuse me, I have to feel the heat. The gulab jamun is sweet. Sugar is sweet. Every time I touch sugar, I will feel the sweetness. Because that sugar is inherently sweet. So every time I or anybody contacts fire, they will feel the heat. If I or anybody else contacts sugar, they will find the sugar sweet. Hence, we can easily assume that the fire is hot and the sugar is sweet. But everybody contacting fire doesn't find the same pleasure. Of contacting sweet doesn't find the same pleasure. Or the same person contacting the fire and the sugar doesn't find the same pleasure and same displeasure. The best example has to be cigarettes. A person smokes cigarettes, you should see these guys, they go into these smoking rooms and all at the airport and they go, they look like they've got nirvana, they look so much bliss on their face. Now that same smoke, which for them is nirvana, for the rest of us who can't stand it, it's like, yuck, stop it, get away. Have you seen if a person smokes in a non-smoking zone, how the other people jump on him? Like, bhaiya, kya murder kiya, kya kiya? They're so agitated, so angry. Because it's so disgusting to them. The cigarette being the same causes joy to one and displeasure to another, hatred to another. Therefore, you can easily assume that the cigarette in and by itself is neither joy nor sorrow. Correct? When he says the world is joyless, he's telling it to us from a psychological point of view. Because if he says world is sorrowless, you will say, oh, very good, and you will run after it. But joyless means sorrowless also. If something is incapable of giving you joy, it is incapable of giving you sorrow. If something is incapable of giving you sorrow, it is incapable of giving you joy. Okay, say your neighbor painted his house. Okay, now this is not a joyful occasion, let us say, for you. You don't even know the neighbor, he painted his house. This is not a joyful occasion for you. This occasion cannot give you sorrow either. But if you painted your house, then this is a joyful occasion for you. I mean, a freshly painted, not during the painting, but after it's painted, freshly painted, gives you joy. Now it has the capacity to give you sorrow. So the world in itself is joyless. It cannot give you joy. Then where is the joy coming from? Now this is what you have to accept. Is this much clear that the world cannot give you joy?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So now point 2, then where is the joy coming from? I desire to eat a mango. I eat the mango. I feel great. Why am I feeling great? Because I had a desire, a mental agitation. When that mental agitation subsided, I experienced what I call joy. I do not have a desire for mango. I am made to eat a mango. Because I went to an Indian household in May by mistake, and they had decided that if a guest comes, you have to give them mango. So they forced me to eat a mango. The same mango, which I had maybe 2 days ago and gave me so much pleasure, will today give me displeasure because that mental agitation for the mango was not there. And so no subsiding of the agitation took place. All pleasure is because you're mentally agitated and the agitation drops. That's the only way you can gain pleasure. So if the mental agitation did not precede the pleasure, you will not get the pleasure. That is why people who are very agitated mentally, they go to a ashram also. According to them, this is like heaven. But people who are not so mentally agitated, even if they go to the ashram, they say, oh yeah, nice place. Because the contrast isn't so much. When the contrast is a lot, like teenagers are extremely mentally agitated. So anything that makes their agitation drop, they're like, this is awesome. This is, the way they talk about it is like, baap re, kya mila aur kya dekha. Because that's what they're experiencing, that agitation has dropped. So all pleasure is, rather stupidly in this world, is you agitate yourself. You bring the agitation down and you say, I'm happy. Arey baap re, par pehle kya the? You were, before the desire, you were calm. Then you agitated your mind, the mind is going. Then you did something to calm the mind. Then you come back to your original state. This original state that you reached, you will now call happiness. It was exactly the same that you had earlier. No difference. But the contrast makes it so. To understand this, think of it in terms of cleaning a room. If that room was full of junk, it was like a go down, and you cleaned it up, you will say, oh my God, the room is so clean. But if you simply maintain that clean room all along, then nobody will come in and say, oh my God, such a clean room, because for them, it's normal. But now you want people to say clean room, then junk it up. And then clean it. And then they'll say, oh wow, look how clean the room is. And it's the same level of cleanliness it was before. Another example is there's a placid pond. Absolutely placid. You throw a stone, the ripples will start. Sit quietly, the ripples will subside. And you will say, oh, look, now the pond is placid again. It was the same placid pond before you threw the stone. That's why they say the world is joyless. If you're getting joy out of it, you're a mad fellow. Mad fellow, not mad fellow in the sense you agitate yourself, you soothe yourself, and call it joy.
Ma'am, I had a question.
Okay, Sarthak, 1 second. Let's just finish with Naeem.
Thank you, Jankiji. It was helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Sarthak.
Ma'am,
One second, Sarthak. One more person had raised. Neeta Gaglani, you had raised your hand. Sorry, Sarthak. Neeta, please ask your question. Sorry, I saw you had raised your hand, but if you're saying something, you are muted, so we can't hear you.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Hari Om.
I'm new to the classes. I'm still in the process of understanding. Now, sometime back we discussed that the mind is agitated when there is a desire. The mind is also getting agitated when there is an attachment to the object or the attachment to the people around you. And also there is an expectation from the people. So how do we distinguish between the desire, attachment, and the expectations?
Okay. So, Neeta.
Yes, madam.
You just started, is it? You have just started.
That. Yes, yes.
Okay. So today you heard about vasanas.
That's right.
Right. So vasanas are our inherent nature. These vasanas manifest as a thought. We get a thought based on that vasana. So suppose you have a thought for or vasana for mangoes. Then you get a thought of mango. This thought multiplies and becomes a desire for mango. And then finally the body takes up some action such as buying a mango or eating a mango or something. But where is it all stemming from? It's coming from the vasana. So let's just examine how this happens. There is a vasana within you. Okay. That vasana makes us feel some kind of, not feel, experience. Let's say feel is not a right word. The vasana makes us feel a sort of emptiness within us. And when we feel this emptiness within us, our thoughts start going out to the world in the hope that I will get this object or this being, and then this emptiness which I feel within myself will go away. I mean, you don't talk like that, your thoughts just go like that. That you want to fill that emptiness. So every once in a while, your thoughts land up on some object or being, and you think to yourself, not you think to yourself, you get the what should I say, the feeling that without this object or being, I will crumble. I cannot exist. I cannot survive. This kind of mental belief that I cannot survive, I will die without this person, is known as attachment. When you have this kind of feeling towards somebody that I cannot live without this person, I cannot survive, I mean, you're not saying this. Remember, this is not how your words you're using. It's just what you're feeling. Then the next step we take is we start thinking that I must hold on to this person. Obviously, no, because without this person, I'm going to crumble. So I have to hold on to this person. I cling on to this person. I start expecting that my desire to hold this person is desire. I want to hold the person. Because why? Because if he or she goes away, I'm going to die, according to me. So I'm going to hang on to this person. It could be a husband, it could be a child, it could be a parent, it could be anything, it could be a house, it could be anything. But I have this belief that I can't survive without this. That belief converts into the desire to hold, into the desire to enjoy that. This is known as desire. Now I start, instead of even bothering to check what is this thing I'm holding on to, I start thinking this person should do this, should behave like that, should do this. Why do I want all this? So that I will be happy. My husband should take me to a movie. Why should he take me to a movie? So that I will be happy. My son should study well. Why should he study well? So that I will be happy. Why will I be happy? Because if this person doesn't do whatever I want them to do, I am going to die. This is how I think about it. So, Neeta, is that clear? When I have vasanas, I feel the sense of emptiness. This emptiness within me pushes my desires to object, pushes my thoughts to object in beings to fill that incompleteness. So it clings on to something in the hope that that incompleteness will be filled. I want to hold that object. I want to enjoy that object. This is called desire. I want that object to do certain things. That is called expectation. Neeta, how are you doing? Put on your video so that I can at least see you. Today, where few people are there, why don't you all put on the videos? Or are there more people? No. You're listening.
Janki
You're gone. Yeah.
Is it right to say then in that case
One
that
second, Jyoti, one second. Let's just finish with Neeta. Neeta, are you still there or am I answering your question and you've gone off somewhere? If you're saying something, you're muted. Neeta, was the answer so bad that you gave up and went away?
No. Very nicely explained. There is some connections problem here.
Okay.
So therefore it keeps on going off and on. Very nicely explained. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jyoti. You're
So
about
just
this, right?
relating, yeah, about this answer. So is it right to say that desire and expectation are the same?
Yeah, of course. All of it is the same. Desire, attachment, desire, expectation, the whole thing is the madhouse. It's all the same thing. And where is it coming from? It's coming from this belief that if something happens to that person, I will be dead. Where did you get all this notion from? Yeah, go ahead.
So again, back to that cycle of vasana, creating thought, creating desire, creating action. And we repeat that whole thing. So how do you break out of it? Only with knowledge.
Yeah, by applying your intellect. Like suppose now, Jyoti, you're married, right?
Yes.
I assume you're married. So you have a husband. Now you have an expectation from your husband that he take you for a movie, let us say. Or maybe your expectation is he comes with you to your Vedanta class. Okay, so you say, my husband should come with me to Vedanta class. That is itself a very stupid thing, because if you want to do Vedanta class, you do know. Why are you telling him to do? But no. Oh, I feel lonely without you. You should also come. If we both do it, how nice it will be. We have all these justifications to ourselves. So then, first step in applying your intellect is, does my husband have the least bit of interest in this matter? If he doesn't have the least bit of interest in this matter, by what logic am I supposed to tell him that he should do something? If he wants me to go to a party and I'm not interested in the party, By what logic is he going to tell me to go? It's not possible. Or he wants me to do something I don't want to do. I'm not going to do it. Similarly, I want him to do something that he doesn't want to do. He's not going to do it. No, 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 you must compromise with me. Okay, then you try compromising. No. You know, I won't compromise. I'm not willing to compromise my desire that he come with me, but he must compromise his desire that he doesn't go with me. So it is all a very unfair way of looking at life. So application is first and foremost, I'm expecting him to do something he doesn't like. How much am I willing to do something I don't like? If I'm not willing to do, then why am I asking him to do? Okay, number one. Number two is, there are many things that will be common that you both will enjoy doing together. Why on earth don't you do those? Instead of worrying about what you can't do together, why not see, okay, which are the things we love doing together and do those? So he's also satisfied, you're also satisfied. You know there's nothing we love doing together. Then you decide you want to live with him or you don't want to live with him. If you want to live with him, figure out ways in which you can keep yourself happy. Because really the most important thing a person can do in their marriage, especially women, is just keep themselves happy. The men are happy by themselves most of the time. You keep yourself happy, the marriage will work beautifully. He should keep me happy. That kind of nonsensical thinking is ruining our happiness, their happiness, the marriage, the children, and everything with it. Hare Baba, can you people relax? So, in language that we would use if we were using it in a sort of class, I mean, it is a class, but not in this informal question answer. Say, have a correct assessment. Make a correct assessment, appraise it correctly, evaluate correctly. Who is willing to do what with you? So if you want to go to a Vedanta class, Jyoti, then Kinnari would be very happy to go with you to Vedanta class. So you go with her. Okay, Usha may be happy to discuss, then you discuss with her. But why should you catch hold of somebody who doesn't want to do it and want to do it with them? Makes no sense, right? So make correct assessments. When you make correct assessments, you stay happy and the people you deal with also stay happy. So what you do about it is application of intellect. Now, how do you get an intellect? Is through knowledge.
Janki ji,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the agitations and the attachment also arises from the sense of insecurity. For example, if he has from the sense of insecurity when one person feels, for example, if the husband dies or the some close person dies on whom the person is dependent financially and emotionally, the first dialogue I have generally noticed that what will happen now? Who will take care of me now when you have gone? So all this attachment and the agitations arises out of the sense of insecurity?
No, insecurity, wait, it all rises out of desire. What will happen to me? I don't care that you're dead. I am care what will happen to me. So this kind of selfish, self-centered desires are what create all our agitations in life. Detachment means you have higher desires. Since you have higher desires, your attention on yourself has reduced. And thereby you become a more stable individual. The more we think I, the more childish we are. A child cannot be stable in their happiness, right? If something good happens, they're excited. If something bad happens, they're depressed because they don't have the stability. But a wise person, a mature person, what are they basically? They're just more unselfish. They can see more than their own existence. Such people are stable. To the extent you become less selfish, you will have less desires and therefore you will be more stable. So yes, it is all these agitations come from, they're really proportional to selfishness. Selfishness means too many desires. And all these desires are about me. Mera kya hoga? That is my only one question in life. Mera promotion aayega kya? Mujhe paise milenge kya? Mera naam hoga kya? Mera husband, mera wife, mera dekhega kya? Dekhegi kya? All I'm concerned with is, are you guys all taking care of me or not? If you're not, you're horrible people. And as long as you're taking care of me, you're my best friend. So this is a little silly, right? The whole picture is a bit, it's not stable. I mean, you're welcome to do whatever you want. It's not stable. Oh, lots of questions. Sarthak? Okay, y'all are all okay? Yeah, Sarthak, go ahead.
Ma'am, when senses contact sense objects, there is a pleasure and pain. Suppose I have no desire to eat an ice cream, and someone offers me an ice cream, and I eat it. I do feel good. So, pleasure and pain is there in like contact of senses and sense objects.
No, you get the pleasure. In the presence of a sense object, an inherent desire may come up. So you like ice creams, but at the moment you're not thinking of an ice cream. But if I give you an ice cream right now, then you'll enjoy it because you already have that desire. But let's say you have no desire for Shakespeare. You have no interest in it. Now I'll give you Shakespeare, saying that I love Shakespeare so much, and you're not going to enjoy it because there's no inherent desire. If there is no inherent desire, you will not enjoy it. So only where you have a desire will you enjoy a sense object. If you don't have a desire, you will not enjoy a sense object. A desire means the desire may be consciously in your mind right now, or it may be inherent in you. So in either case, you will enjoy only to the extent that you have a desire.
And ma'am, that pleasure that I feel is that from the Atman or from the mind?
Yes and no. Philosophically speaking, all desire, all pleasure is from the Atman, in the sense that a desire covers the Atman. When your desire has been exhausted through contact or knowledge, whatever, that much Atman is sort of coming, that much light is coming through. But this is a philosophical concept. As far as we are concerned, we should just say that the desire is nullified, so therefore the pleasure is there. Now, adding this one more thing, why is the pleasure there? Is one more complication in this, in the sense that try and understand it. It's a subtle concept. Imagine there's a light, and that light is covered with 10 blankets. Okay, so you remove one blanket, a little bit of light will come. Where is that light coming from? It's coming from that light, from that bulb. But you will say the removing of this blanket caused that light. It is not really true, or it is true depending on which way you look at it. So if somebody makes a claim that all pleasure is from the Atman, then that would be true. Because every time the desire is removed, the interruption is removed, the inherent joy will come through. Uttara, you have only 1 minute.
Yeah, Janki, thank you for giving me 1 minute. Okay, I'll just ask you one question. Like, who decides? Maybe it is not related to
your minute is going in a lot of
but generally I'm asking you.
Who decides what?
I just want a question that who decides what is the correct moral behavior? Like you keep propping up this relationship and all this. So now who decides which is the right behavior in a relationship, and like, is it a mutual, or is it a society, or is it laid down somewhere?
Nothing. You will decide for yourself what is right. Who decides
if
what
it
is
is
right? Only
not,
the individual.
Only the individual. But if the society doesn't consider that as a right action, then
suppose somebody is a terrorist. the fellow
See,
thinks he's doing the right thing, but society will catch
to
hold of that
elaborate,
person and
just to elaborate. No, just to elaborate on my question. Suppose in a
no,
relationship,
don't
a
elaborate. Try
person
and
is
un-
a promiscuous.
no, one sec. I understand the question. Don't elaborate. I try and understand the answer.
Okay.
A person himself or herself will decide what is right or wrong. Just because they are doing something doesn't mean they themselves think it is right. Okay, so they may themselves feel it is wrong, but if they do it when they think it is wrong, they will be agitated. If they think it is right, then they will not be agitated. Now, if this is in contradiction to their society, then their society will take its action according to whatever that things they think is right. So it's always based on the individual.
Okay. So it does not have to be always in consensus with the society at large.
No, of course not. Some of the greatest people were in contradiction to society. What has society got to do with it? The worst and the best are both in contradiction to society. Society is like some kind of average medium, but the worst are well below it and the best are well above it. Okay, so that's it for today.
Okay. Thank you.
Bharti announcement. Oh yeah, you all know about the retreat, right? And so I hope you all are all coming. You have entered. There's a WhatsApp group that you're supposed to enter, I think.